Another year, another NASCAR on Fox video. Did anything change or improve? Are NASCAR fans happy with it? Will I, for once, not have to make this video next year? The answer to all of those questions is no. No, not at all. NASCAR on Fox is bad the same way as usual, but different ways this year. And I want to kind of go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of how their coverage was, because I think there were some good things to talk about. I think there were some bad things to talk about. And boy, we all know there was a lot of ugly things to talk about. So let's roll into the good. Let's start off at least in a positive note and then sink this ship as it goes. First off, it was mercifully shorter this year. It was actually the shortest tenure that NASCAR on Fox has ever had since their coverage began 25 years ago in 2001. Back then it'd go till roughly June or July, depending on what year they had the Daytona 500. It went back to maybe the start of June for 07 to 14, and then back to the end of June or start of July under the previous deal. Well, now it ends in the middle of May, right before the Coke 600. And I will say, I did not feel like it was as bad this year for that simple reason. I didn't have to deal with as much of it. And maybe that's just something that's a bare minimum bar underneath the ground to get over on that end, but I was happy with that. It was not as bad for me, I think, as most years were. And I'll say this, the pit crew spotlight was actually really good. I loved this segment a lot. It was more honed, really exploratory when it came to what these guys go through. And on top of that, they would seemingly go off script and interview somebody when they were run over by a car. I don't know about you, but when somebody's run over by a car, I'd like to ask if they're okay and know that. And they did a pretty good job with that. And I will say, keep this in 2026, please. Also, more side-by-side this year for major races, especially the first 3 points races of the 500, Atlanta, and COTA. I think this needs to progress further, but this is the way of the future, and they showed the ability to try and adapt to it. NBC tried it a little bit last year, and we liked it. Fox trying it this year is something, and they got a lot of positive praise for it and everything like that. Do more of this next year. I know that they're probably kind of pigeonholed in thanks to the current contract, and it's probably going to be completely outdated by 2031, whatever they do. But in 2025, I like the fact that they're trying to do something different. Both of those, again, they're trying something different, and I'm all for it. And I'm willing to have them try different things and them not be good as long as they try different things and try and freshen it up. That is about what I got when it comes to the good, though. On the bad front, the commercials. Yeah, I know I had talked about the side-by-side, but that was few and far in between in the grand scheme of things. And I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it has to be said. Nobody under the age of 65 wants to watch commercials anymore. I can binge a show on Prime or Netflix and have minimal commercials, if any. I don't want to have commercials in my sports coverage. And pretty much every sport I watch outside of this, even in motorsports, I don't have to have as many commercials as Fox has. It's distracting more and more each year. And I'm going to sound old by saying this, but youth culture has completely moved past this. It is time for people to understand this. I don't want to watch the same curved dick ads over and over again. I don't want to watch the same Breztri ads over and over again. I'm 28 this year. I am not going to have COPD. I would like to see something that caters to me. If you're going to have commercials, at least have it be something that's relevant to somebody under the age of 65. Just saying. The direction, too. It felt old. This whole broadcast for the last 5 to 10 years has felt older and older, and it is easily because of the direction. It's a very scripted, paint-by-the-numbers broadcast in just about every aspect. For instance, Larry Mack is talking about strategy, talking about what needs to come next for these teams at Talladega. They cut him off, America's crew chief, so they can show a compilation of the big one of a bunch of crashes we've already seen on all the commercials leading up to it, because that's all they put as commercials, and then they go to commercial after showing the compilations that were their commercials all week. And the Toyota segment, for instance, where they have to shoehorn it in. Shoehorning all of these different little segments that are paid for in. I get that you have to pay the bills, but you need to at least make it seem like you're interjecting it in a natural way. I don't want to see all these things over the racing. A lot of times they'd show full replays of things that happened 10 to 20 laps ago. over actual racing going on in the moment. And yeah, we probably didn't miss much stuff in that time, but I would not want to miss something in that time. And like I said, it just feels old. It is such an old feel to a Fox broadcast, and it's a problem they have more and more with just about every sport they cover now. The commercials, like I said, very much are catered towards older dudes, and yeah, I'll get there in 40 years. But with the older cast of characters, the broadcast that's stuck in 2004, and the commercials themselves, I really don't feel like in any way this is a sport that somebody that's a friend of mine would watch. Not because they wouldn't be interested. I think if I took them to a race, they'd be interested. But because the broadcast is so bad, it's a detriment to anyone thinking that it'd be cool to watch this sport. And that gets to the ugly. I hate saying it, but the booth. I thought the booth was actually getting better early this year as well as last year, but it just seemed to unravel as the season went on. The biggest gripe of the year had to have been Clint Bowyer talking over Mike Joy's call to the finish at Bristol. Clint, you're an analyst. You are the side character in the booth. Shut the hell up at the finish. That's Mike's job. We already had to deal with Darrell Waltrip cutting him off at finishes forever. Just look at 2010 Talladega. We don't need you doing it. At least DW has championships to back up his ramblings. Harvick and Bowyer as well just are really abrasive. And I get that it's probably just trying to play up a character, but when you see Kevin Harvick seemingly bullying Bowyer, yeah, it's just not the greatest, and they don't really have all that much chemistry in the booth. I think each of them on their own actually would be pretty good. Mike Joy, obviously, he is a legend, and he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer in this sport. Kevin Harvick, I think, when he's put with guys, say, like Eric Brennan and Dale Earnhardt Jr., really good as well. And Clint Bowyer, when he is not asked to be the local clown show, is actually really insightful, and he has that knowledge, like Harvick, of recently being in the car. And I think that if you just let them act the way they're supposed to be, if they would just let them be natural in the booth and not cut them off every 5 seconds with commercials, I think that they'd actually be really good. On paper, this booth should work. And I'll say, I have to talk about one race in particular as the ugliest, Talladega. It was a normal Fox broadcast till the end, and it wasn't great, but it was a normal Fox broadcast till the end. And then they had a commercial with about 15 or so to go, which was pushing it, and at the time I really was kind of eye-twitching, not really the happiest with it, but okay, whatever. It's a Fox thing. And then going to commercial with 9 laps to go to 5 to go at Talladega, which is supposed to be the most action-packed track in all of NASCAR. I mean, hell, this track is more well-known than the sport itself at this point. It has a movie named after it. And they just had no room for the booth to have any flow, any kind of build-up. No build-up whatsoever with it. It was the worst run broadcast I think I've ever seen on a professional level, and it was Artie Kempner's last one, which we'll get to him in a minute. And then, of course, the truck broadcasts. I have no further comment. Unless you have Carson Hocevar on it, just watch and see how bad it is. But getting to the end of it, talking about this season in the rearview mirror. With Artie Kempner now out, going to ABC and ESPN for Monday Night Football, there may be a real shot at big changes. And I hope there are. And I hope that people are listening right now, as I know I was kind of being a little bit of a jerk with it, but I'm just have to joke and smile through the pain a little bit because of how bad it's gotten. And I remember, and I say this every year, I remember how great NASCAR on Fox was when I was a kid and even a teenager. I mean, it wasn't even this bad 10 years ago. I don't know what happened. They need to kind of just revert a little back in some ways when it comes to what worked before. Whether it's being a little more analytical, whether it's opening up the broadcast a little more, breaking back in when there's something big happening, whatever it might be. And with Artie Kempner gone, I think there might be that chance. Many said the last couple broadcasts after the Talladega race were better. We'll see next year if they really were, or if NASCAR fans just had a honeymoon placebo effect placed on them, and they just knew that it was different behind the scenes, and they were seeing it different because of that. We'll see. I hope so. But with that, I'm going to give a grade for them on the year. I'm going to say D+. It wasn't failing, because I don't think this was the worst year that they've put on, which is saying something in a bad way. But I do think it was suboptimal. Now I want to know what you think, so let me know down in the comments below. All right, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, especially channel members. And until next time, have a good one.